It is. And talk about an invention. Whoever invented Glenn Beck was right on the money. I mean, that experiment
that
really
might be his
worked out.
parents.
There is Glenn Beck. Welcome, Glenn. Welcome back.
I mean, do we have like a sneeze
Nice
guard
to
I
see
can put between Eric and I?
Good morning. Good to see you.
In between the kiss.
I got a kiss. I just felt so bad for you in the hole. You were desperate for directions.
I don't know what I'm doing. Like, stop. Okay, what?
And
Go.
And you're always so good with direction.
I know.
So it's very surprising.
I know. I follow rules
You really do.
very well.
Actually, he usually speaks his own mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is why you're on the show and why you have your own show and why so many people watch you. I happen to be wearing green today, and I didn't know we were going to be talking about the green job czar, but that's what you've been focusing on a lot.
Well, no, not last night we highlighted him, but all week we're doing different czars, and we're looking at the Marxist, the communist, the socialist, the anti-capitalist. Tonight is all about anti-capitalists that are surrounding and advising our president. And what I'm trying to do is just ask the questions that no one seems willing to ask. There are so many things out here that we need answered before we can move forward. Last night I highlighted the Apollo Alliance. These are the people that wrote the stimulus package. They're riddled with anti-capitalists. They're riddled with Van Jones, a self-avowed communist.
Let's check out the history of Van Jones, because a lot of people are not familiar with him. Let's take a look.
Who is Obama's green job czar, Van Jones?
What I do, to make it simple, I'm basically a community organizer inside the federal family.
Let's start at Yale Law School, where Van Jones showed up wearing combat boots and holding a Black Panther book bag. He said of that period, if I'd been in another country, I probably would have joined some underground guerrilla sect. But as it was, I went to an Ivy League law school. Although he says he wanted to drop out, Jones stayed because he decided the degree would give him legitimacy to speak out on civil rights issues. A major turning point came in 1993 when he was arrested during the Rodney King riots. In jail, he, quote, met all of these young radical people of color. I mean, really radical, communists and anarchists. And it was like, this is what I need to be a part of, end quote. He spent the next 10 years as a full-fledged radical, among other things, founding a group called STORM, standing together to organize a revolutionary movement, which held study groups in the Marxist and Lenin teachings. In 1999, Jones was arrested again while protesting the World Trade Organization. STORM dissolved 3 years later.
So, Glenn, now what's his job?
Green job czar, as he said it best in that piece, he's basically a community organizer inside the framework of our republic. That's what's happening. When Barack Obama said, I am going to promise you fundamental transformation of our nation, this is what's happening. We are bringing community organizations and community organizers, and we're embedding them inside of the system to build a new framework. This guy in particular, and he's not the only one, and you'll see more tonight, this guy in particular is an avowed communist. Mm-hmm. Communist.
Can I jump in here real quick? I actually did a little homework on this guy, Glenn. There's a video out there. There's a YouTube video out there where he is on camera saying, look, the $787 billion stimulus program, the plan, the bill, has given him $80 billion to work with. A czar gets a blank check for $80 billion?
What's really fascinating, if you look at all of this, these czars are really more money funnelers. And what's happened is the green jobs package passed under George W. Bush, but it was never funded. The Apollo Alliance asked for $125 million to go to this green jobs program. They got $500 million. And it's all going right through this man's hands. Mm-hmm. If you look, and tonight we're going to look at STORM and other radical groups like it, these people are revolutionaries, anti-capitalist, and they have millions and millions and millions, if not billions of dollars at their disposal.
Let me ask you this, Glenn, because before on this program you have said, I don't know if these czars were put in these positions to just say, hey, thanks for being a good friend, or if they actually have real power. What have you been able to find out?
Not an awful lot. because no one will speak about the czars. No one will speak about, you've seen this in testimonies in Congress when you had the chairman of the Bank of America, where he stood up at first and said, hey, I was bullied. Then later said, no, I wasn't. Of course I wasn't bullied. I don't know what you're talking about. I misspoke. I think these guys are such bullies. It is when you see throughout the entire week, we're doing 1-hour specials all night to show you what I believe is a snapshot of what's happening to our country. When you see all these czars, I'm sorry, but it is not a mistake that all of these people have a lot of things in common. Radicalism and anti-capitalism.
Well, if you look at the New York Times, half these jobs which these czars have filled have not had their positions filled. These jobs are still open. 50% of the jobs in the administration are still open. They haven't passed the Senate. But
the czar jobs are full.
The czar, yeah, which we didn't know that weren't open.
Yeah.
The czars don't have to pass anything. All they have to do is get appointed by Barack Obama.
Some of these, and we're doing some more on this tonight. Because I've had a couple of researchers come and tell me this, but I have to check on this myself and see all of the ins and outs of this. But the administration has opened up and bypassed the FBI, or at least I know they were trying to, and it was verified for me last night, and I got to see the evidence of this again, and I'll bring it on television tonight if it's true. But they're bypassing the FBI. So we're not getting even the standard background check from the FBI. The White House is doing the vetting now.
You made an interesting link between Brian Dees, the guy in charge of cash for bunkers, paying, basically giving $3 billion to the car companies, but also that leap towards the unions and how it went from Brian Dees to the unions right to the Obama administration.
And you know what's fascinating about Brian Dees? Brian Dees is also a guy who has written books about how capitalism doesn't work. Now, if we have Brian Dees, the guy who, as the New York Times says, is redesigning the engine of our automobile industry, who has no automobile experience and is an anti-capitalist, what are we expecting to happen here? What is going on?
Well, a lot of people want that question answered, Glenn.
Yeah. What is storm
Well, it's time that...
What's the acronym STORM mean?
I can't remember.
What does it represent?
Okay, it represents a revolutionary, it's a communist organization that extolled the virtues of Mao Zedong. They're in one of their documents, they talk about how they're sad that the Soviet Union is no longer around. There's no great communist state anymore. And we have to make sure that children understand how great communism is. And they want a revolution, or wanted a revolution here in America. The reason why they disbanded is because they had all kinds of internal problems, and they decided they could make a bigger impact by going legit instead of being on the street.
Does the Green Czar supersede the Department of Energy? I mean, you would think the money for green initiatives would be in the Department of Energy.
Who knows? Who knows? We have on tomorrow's program, Rush Limbaugh will be joining me, and we're going to be talking about what's happening in the FCC on clamping down on free speech. We have a diversity czar now at the FCC. This guy will be the key of shutting speech down, talk radio down. People like me, people like you on Fox. If you're not embracing the new diverse world, which means one opinion, you're done.
All right.
Very interesting stuff, because we thought that debate had gone away.
Oh, no. It hasn't even started.